The Royal Rumble is one of WWE's biggest matches, and every year there's one person left standing. But what if the rules were different? What if whoever stayed in the match the longest was the winner, what we like to call the Iron Man or Iron Woman? How would this change the history of WrestleManias? Would the matches be better or worse? To me, some of these matches get way better, but let's check it out. Make sure to subscribe, and yeah, let's see what changes in the history of WWE. In 2008, the Royal Rumble was a classic. The winner of the match was, of course, a returning John Cena. How did Cena come back from that injury that fast? None of us will ever know. But Cena was entrant number 30. So who was the Iron Man of this match? Well, it was Batista. And if you remember that year, the match at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship was Randy Orton versus Triple H versus John Cena. So now we get Triple H versus Randy Orton versus Batista. I think this match is better already just because we have 3 out of the 4 members of Evolution. I actually think the original Triple Threat was a good match. Even the ending was super cool with like the pedigree into the punch so that Randy could win. But now, I don't know. I feel like this adds a little extra kick to the match. So I'm gonna say this one was better. Screw it. In 2009, the Royal Rumble was of course the best heel in WWE history. It was 2009 Bald Randy Orton. Now, Randy would go on to challenge WWE Champion Triple H at WrestleMania. One of the best feuds of all time with one of the worst payoffs in a match ever. The match was just not fun. They literally weren't able to do anything because if Triple H got disqualified, he would have lost the title. Why was this not like an Extreme Rules match? Anyways, this year does get a little confusing though, because the man who actually Iron Man this match was Triple H. He was in the match for almost 50 minutes. But Triple H, like I said, ended up becoming WWE champion. So what happens if you win the Rumble and you're also already champion? Well, you get in a title versus title match versus Edge at WrestleMania. Look, I could have just stuck with the Randy Orton Triple H theme and I'm sure it could have worked, but I think this is way cooler. We don't have to watch Triple H versus Randy Orton. We also don't have to watch Big Show versus Edge versus Cena. And I just think this would be an awesome match, you know, a really big moment. I think Edge could go over and be a little double champion. And if you remember, this year at WrestleMania, it was Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. In many people's opinion, the best wrestling match ever. So if there was a match to go on after that, I think a title versus title match would do perfect. In 2010, this was a weird year because Edge ended up winning the Royal Rumble. He went on to challenge Chris Jericho, but something weird about this Rumble is that there is no Iron Man. I would consider an Iron Man someone who at least spent like 30 minutes minimum in the match. And the person who spent the longest in this match was John Cena. And Cena only spent 22 minutes in the match. So do we let him get through with this? Who cares? We'll let him get through. And of course that means instead of Cena going in to fight for the WWE title, he fights Chris Jericho for the World Heavyweight Championship. I actually quite like John Cena versus Batista. As a kid, I thought that match was awesome, but I really hated Chris Jericho versus Edge. So maybe this is better. Who knows? But I'm not going to say this is definitively better than the last 2 years. So yeah, I consider this a downgrade. Okay, but in 2011, this is a great year because the Royal Rumble winner, unfortunately, was Alberto Del Rio. This match was also the biggest Royal Rumble at the time, being 40 people, and the Iron Man, which I'm super happy about, was the leader of the new Nexus, CM Punk. Punk was the #1 entrant in the match and stayed in it for around 35 minutes. And if you remember, Alberto Del Rio challenged Edge in sort of Edge's retirement match of sorts. So now we would have gotten, instead of that horrible match, we would have gotten CM Punk versus Edge for the World Heavyweight Championship. CM Punk was so over in 2011 that I think this would have been brilliant. It's crazy that the last time CM Punk won the World Heavyweight Championship was 2009. So yeah, I think this would be a fun match. CM Punk was he was so good back then, man. So I 100% consider this an upgrade. In 2012, we have an interesting one here. The original winner of the match was Sheamus, and he went on to fight Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania and beat him in like 30 seconds. So who is the Iron Man of this year's Rumble? Well, that would be the #1 entrant, The Miz. Now look, The Miz got so much hate because he had main evented WrestleMania the year before, and it was a disaster. But listen, if you slot Miz into a match with his former NXT colleague, Daniel Bryan, this match surely has to be better than whatever Daniel Bryan did with Sheamus. I'm saying this is a positive here because literally you could put anyone against Daniel Bryan and it would have been a better match than he had. And I think these two had great chemistry. They had such a nice like war. They just hated each other. So I think this match would be awesome. In 2013, we have an interesting one because the original winner was, of course, John Cena. And once again, if you don't remember, he went on to face The Rock at WrestleMania for a little twice-in-a-lifetime experience. So who was the Iron Man of this year's Rumble? Well, it was the #1 entrant, Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler lasted almost 50 minutes, and yeah, this means we would have gotten a great match between Dolph Ziggler and The Rock for the WWE Championship. Would it be better than twice in a lifetime? Probably not, but I would have loved it. I'm pretty sure The Rock got hurt in this match too, so yeah, I can't imagine this going well either way, but I'm gonna say it technically is a downgrade. But don't get me wrong, Dolph Ziggler, most underrated wrestler of all time. In 2014, of course, the winner of the Royal Rumble went on to be Batista. Batista was returning, and of course this led to the historic match between Batista, Daniel Bryan, and Randy Orton for both titles. But what I'm excited about is that the Iron Man of this match was CM Punk. This was Punk's last match in WWE for almost like 10 years. And yeah, that means the main event of WrestleMania 30 is, of course, Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton versus CM Punk. Punk has now main evented 2 WrestleManias in this world. But this match, dude, this match sounds so good. I can't even dream about matches this good. I still think Daniel Bryan wins and goes over, but at least Punk main events a second WrestleMania. That's pretty cool. In 2015, this one's a bit tough, but of course the Royal Rumble winner was Roman Reigns. This was one of the harder Rumbles to watch just because they shoved Roman down our throats. We didn't want it. Please stop doing that. But interestingly, the #5 entrant of this match and the Iron Man, staying in for almost 46 minutes, was Bray Wyatt. Now, if you remember, Roman Reigns went on to face Brock Lesnar, where Seth Rollins eventually cashed in. But what if we got Bray Wyatt versus Brock Lesnar with Seth Rollins cashing in? It could be a little different. Look, I'm not going to say it's better because I think Roman versus Brock was actually pretty good. At least that version of it. I don't want to hear about WrestleMania 34 or 38, Jesus. But I actually think this is a downgrade because Roman being there means more to Seth cashing in. So technically this is a downgrade, but I think this match would be really good. In 2016, the Royal Rumble winner was, weirdly enough, Triple H. This match was also for the WWE Championship. So this is again another situation where this gets very confusing. So the Iron Man of this match was actually the man who came into the match as WWE champion, Roman Reigns. So by this logic again, Roman would have won the WWE championship. But at this time, there was no 2 championships. You know, it wasn't World Heavyweight in WWE. There was literally 1 world title. I know, it was tough to watch WWE. So what happens? I'm just gonna say we get the same match, but Roman goes into it as champion instead. Look, this match, I'm gonna be honest, this match was garbage. So does Roman going into the match as champion make it any better? No, I actually think it makes it worse somehow. So I'm going to say this is a big downgrade. Like, this is just horrible. Get this off my screen. In 2017, we had the Royal Rumble winner of, once again, Randy Orton. Randy Orton went on to face Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 33, and this is going to be interesting because the Iron Man of this match was a returning Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho was in the match for an hour, which is crazy. You know, he's not a youngster. And if you remember, Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton was just not that great of a match. Honestly, it just kind of sucked. And Randy winning was so random. So now instead, we get Bray Wyatt versus Chris Jericho. 2 great character workers and 2 great minds of the business. Maybe this would be better. Honestly, I'm going to say it's better. I think this is a success. Let's be honest. I also think Chris Jericho deserves a Royal Rumble win. The dude was there for like 20 years. You got to give him one. So yeah, I'm going to say this is definitely better. But not by like too much, but a little bit better. So yeah, I'm gonna say this is definitely better. In 2018, this is interesting because we have 2 Royal Rumbles. They added the Women's Royal Rumble in this year. And the Men's Royal Rumble winner was Shinsuke Nakamura. He went on to face AJ Styles at WrestleMania in a bad match. It was just a bad match. Shinsuke should have won. I don't know how else to put it. This buried his entire career. But something very cool about this is that the Iron Man of this match, they're gonna love it. The Finn Balor fans are gonna love it. It was Finn Balor, man. Finn Balor was in this match for 57 minutes, meaning we get, yes, he gets another shot at the gold. We get Finn Balor versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. And already this match is better. We have 2 previous members and leaders of the Bullet Club. 2 guys that went from New Japan to WWE. I guess Shinsuke did too, but their paths are so similar. Both incredible wrestlers, both with so much to prove at the time, at least. And I think this is where Finn Balor goes over. He redeems himself. He is the demon once again. And yeah, I think this changes everything for Finn Balor. You know, yeah, I wish it happened. I'm sad. The Women's Royal Rumble winner was, of course, Asuka. And again, this is really sad because Asuka also lost. Man, Japan had a rough day that day. But the Iron Woman was Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks now would go up against Charlotte. At this point, Charlotte was low-key undefeatable. Like, you literally could not beat her. And I, like, don't think Sasha Banks could just, like, ever beat her at this point. But I think this match would have slapped. I wouldn't say that it's going to be better than the Asuka match because if Asuka won, it would have been like an all-time classic. It's just she didn't. And I also don't see Sasha Banks winning this match. So I'm going to say it's like a side grade. In 2019, we had the first time where a couple actually both won the match, where Seth Rollins was the winner and Becky Lynch was also the winner. And something that's very cool here, Seth Rollins was the Iron Man, so the match stays the exact same. This match was very quick, very simple, nothing really to complain about, nothing great about it. Like I said, Becky won the other match, and interestingly enough, the Iron Woman of this match was Natalya. Natalya was in this match for a long time, meaning that, I mean, this would have been crazy because this main evented this year's WrestleMania. We would have got a title for title match between Charlotte, Natalya, and Ronda Rousey. Again, Becky ended up winning this match, so it feels weird not having her here. But look, Natalya with 2 belts, I'm a fan, man, she deserves it. But I can't see this being an upgrade. This is definitely not an upgrade to having Becky Lynch here. In 2020, the COVID year, of course, the winner of the match was Drew McIntyre. Who was the Iron Man of the match? Drew McIntyre, so nothing changes. Was this match good? Not really, but I can't say anything about it because nothing changed. The women's winner was, of course, Charlotte Flair. And Charlotte Flair, interestingly enough, went on to be the first person to challenge for the NXT title at WrestleMania. She did that, of course, against Rhea Ripley. But now, and I think this is an understatement, calling this person an Iron Woman is literally like, they've done it so many times now that I don't even know what to say. Bianca Belair is the Iron Woman. She now goes on to face Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, and she's not done, folks. I also think this match is an upgrade, if I forgot to mention that. This is definitely an upgrade. In 2021, the Royal Rumble winner, Edge, was also the Iron Man because he entered in at number 1 and won the match. Meaning this match stays exactly the same, and I love this match, so don't change it. And weirdly enough, like I said, the women's winner, Bianca Belair, was also the Iron Man, so this match stays the exact same. In 2022, Brock Lesnar was the winner of the Royal Rumble. But interestingly enough, the Iron Man was actually AJ Styles. He wasn't in the match too long, but he was in longer than everyone else. So he gets a big match here going up against Universal Champion Roman Reigns. And I already like this match better. I hated the Brock vs. Roman thing, uniting the belts. It's not for me. So just put this match instead and it's an upgrade. I also think these two work really well together. So yeah, there's no way this is a downgrade. I just don't want to hear it. Ronda Rousey ended up winning the 2022 Women's Rumble, but again, like I said, the Iron Woman of all time is Bianca Belair. And can you guess who's champion? Of course, it's Charlotte Flair. We would have gotten this match again, and yeah, I think this would be good, but nothing special. I would say it's a little bit of an upgrade though. In 2023, of course, the Royal Rumble winner was Cody Rhodes. He went on to face Roman Reigns at this year's WrestleMania and actually lost, which was very shocking. But the man who was the runner-up and the person who was the Iron Man was the beast himself, Gunther. And if you forgot, Gunther was the Intercontinental Champion, meaning I think we could have got a 3-belt match here between Roman Reigns and Gunther. Winner gets 3 belts, Roman 3 belts. That would have been sick. So would I say this is an upgrade? No, I think the story with Cody and Roman is like all-time WWE classic. But this would have been sick, dude. I think the match quality might have been a little bit better, but the story, it's not even close. The winner and Iron Woman of the women's match was Rhea Ripley, so nothing changes there. Again, Charlotte Flair has been champion in everything, but this match was insane, so I'm happy that it stays the same. This match was actually super good. In 2024, the men's Royal Rumble winner, of course again, was Cody Rhodes. But kind of interestingly, the person who was the Iron Man was actually Jey Uso. Jey and Jimmy came out number 1 and 2, so Jey gets a little head start on winning the Rumble, meaning he gets to go one-on-one against his cousin, Roman Reigns. And immediately, this is the biggest downgrade in the history of this video. WrestleMania 40 was one of the biggest matches of all time in the history of wrestling. So whoever you put in this match will be a downgrade. I'm sorry. Even if you brought back Stone Cold, this would be a downgrade. So poor Jey Uso, you know, he could do his thing, but not good enough. Sorry. So the 2024 Women's Royal Rumble winner was, of course, Bayley, and she was also the Iron Man. So nothing changes here. This match was great, by the way. So I'm happy it's staying. And lastly, in 2025, the Royal Rumble winner was, of course, Jey Uso. Interestingly enough, the person who Iron Man this match was the newly appearing Penta. And Penta killed it in this match. It was awesome. Of course, Jey went on to challenge Gunther for the title and win it. But now instead, we would have gotten Gunther versus Penta. Listen, Jey put on a performance out there. You know, it wasn't like an insane all-timer match, but it was a good match for Jey Uso standards. But this match would have been so good. I would have loved this, to be honest. Obviously, Jey winning the world title is so much bigger than any kind of fun match I want here. But in a selfish way, this is a big upgrade to me. And the Women's Royal Rumble winner was Charlotte. I'm tired of Charlotte at this point. But interestingly enough, someone who I really think is going to be a big deal, Roxanne Perez was the Iron Woman of this match, breaking the record for longest time a woman spent in a match. And yeah, that means we would have gotten Tiffany Stratton versus Roxanne Perez. And anyone, I could have been in this match against Tiffany Stratton, and it would have been an upgrade from Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton is one of the worst matches I've ever watched. There's just something off. They like don't like each other in real life or something. I don't know. But that match was so hard to sit and watch. And Roxanne, of course, is super good in the ring, so I think this match would have hit. But let me know what you think what would have been the coolest match out of all these, and tell me what you think was a big upgrade or downgrade. But yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.